Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gents. I'm Gene Online. I trust you guys can see my screen. It says Grodon welcomes you, and today we're going to look at the SI units. We will definitely explain to you exactly what SI stands for and the type of SI units used in South Africa. Okay, the contents or agenda for this afternoon is what does SI mean, what is an SI unit, what SI units do we get, and what SI units do we use in South Africa. Okay, first of all, I think it's really crucial to understand what do an SI unit mean. It's an international system of units. So just minimize this. Now, just give me 1 second. There you go. It's derived from the French word or French definition. I'm definitely not going to even try and attempt pronouncing that. If you guys that can actually speak French or can pronounce it a bit more efficiently than I can, you're more than welcome to. But it is derived from French or the French word or French systems, and it's a modern form of the metric system, and is a most widely used system of measurement. This system was initially published in 1960 as a result of an initiative that began in 1948 already. Just a little bit of background on exactly where this SI unit comes from. Just waiting for the next slide to upload. Okay. If you guys, Patrick just asked if you guys can give an indication of who of you was born around about 1960, then maybe we can see if we can get you guys to maybe rather present this training session as opposed to me, as I was not born in 1960. Okay, nobody? All a couple of youngsters, fantastic. Patrick is just grinning here because I believe he was born in 1938 or 36 or something. So he was part and parcel of writing the SI units back in the days. So, just a silly, stupid little joke. Okay, guys and girls, what are the SI units? It was defined as 7 units of measure, or the basic set from which all other SI units can be derived. So if you have a look at the little correction marks or little tick downs, you'll see words and definitions and units of measure there. That's not really familiar with or to us in South Africa, like for instance the Kelvin for temperature, we use Celsius or centigrade, and candela for luminous intensity, and the mole for substances, and so forth. The most prevalent type of SI units, I think that we will have to have a look at, especially in the plumbing industry, will be meters, which is the measurement of length, obviously, kilograms for mass, seconds for time, the ampere for electric current, yes and no. In terms of your geyser installations, it might be some useless information to know the electric current in South African markets and so forth. However, you are not, or we are not qualified electricians. For those of you who are, you can definitely elaborate a heck of a lot more on electrical currents and electrical supply systems and measurements and so forth, as opposed to myself. On the temperature side, we'll have to look at the Celsius or degrees centigrade, and that yes, we'll elaborate a little bit on the pressures as well, kilopascal versus bar, and so forth. The SI-based units form a set of mutually independent dimensions as required by dimensional analysis, commonly employed in science and technology. The main reason for these SI units and why we have this presentation is that we all in the plumbing / sandware, brassware manufacturing industry start talking the same language. For those of you who have attended the standard plumbing tools used in the plumbing industry, or tools used in the plumbing industry, as well as your standard plumbing terminology, you would have noticed that we sort of place emphasis on the correct name versus the colloquial / slang names that are used in the market, although everybody will understand if you talk about a Bobbejaan spanner, for instance. I mean, the technically correct name is an adjustable pipe wrench. However, very few people talk like that. So yes, the SI units, the intro to sales, all these first initial type of training sessions is, like I say, really to form a basis of understanding, a mutual understanding, so that everybody speaks the same type of language. Okay, just waiting for the next slide to upload. There you go, it's fully uploaded. The first SI unit, international SI unit we will have a look at is your meter, which is obviously a measurement of length, and the symbol is a small m. There is a little bit of a formal definition in the the fourth column from your left-hand side. There's a little bit of a definition there and a bit of an explanation. I don't know if you guys would want to actually go through that. Might be quite interesting. All the training material is available for you guys as well to download, and you can read through all the mumbo-jumbo scientific explanations and where it came from and how it was derived and so forth at your own leisure. I think maybe it might be important if we have a look at the terminologies and products that we basically use in the plumbing field. So if we have a look at the meter, yes, the meter is the length of the path traveled by light in a vacuum during a time interval of one measurement of, then there's 2,000,000 and 199,000 and million T 421 to 458. Okay, yeah, guys, so you can see, I mean, at that time interval that was traveled, it's a scientific measurement in terms of how they actually came to measure length in terms of meters. Okay, if we have a look at the next one, the kilogram, obviously a measurement of mass. Symbol is small k, small g, and then the formal definition or scientific definition, or how they derived at actually measuring mass, is the kilogram is the unit of mass. It's equal to the mass of the international prototype of the kilogram. I have absolutely no idea what the prototype of a kilogram is. It is appears to be some scientific actual measurement in terms of exactly that. The very last column explains a bit of historic justifications and so forth. Sorry, Patrick, it's just indicating a question that popped up.
Sorry, can you just repeat that number?
Okay, apparently there's people that don't understand, you must listen properly. In terms of the meter, that number is 299,779, 2045 and 8. Okay, Corey, I hope you got that, and it makes a hell of a lot more sense to you. If you can just please give an indication, otherwise, yes, we'll have to go back to maths. Okay, right, guys and girls, the next slide, just waiting, there you go, it's uploaded. Corey understands as well. It made a lot of more sense to me now reading it that way as well. Okay, in terms of the measurement of time, it is done in seconds. Small s is your symbol. And then yet again, another bit of a scientific mathematical conundrum. Corey, listen properly. The second is the duration of all those wonderful, wonderful numbers that you can see there. Periods of the radiation corresponding to the transition between the two hyperfine levels of the ground state of the caesium-133 atom. Okay, so that basically to me means 100% the same as I like my steak medium rare to a vegan. It's a lot of scientific information. In essence, guys and girls, what we need to take away from this is that the measurement for time is done in seconds, and the symbol is an S. On the historic justifications on the very last column, I think that's a bit more of a clear indication and explanation of exactly what these units are measured in. The day is divided in 24 hours, as you can read for yourselves. Each hour divided in 60 minutes, each minute divided in 60 seconds. Okay, so that obviously gives us a bit of a more understandable way of measuring or reading time. Okay, just waiting for the next slide to upload. Okay, just give it a bit of a click again. Seems to be a bit of a lag with upload of the slides. Okay, there you go. On the electrical current side, the measurement is obviously electrical current. In South Africa, we would very much obviously be aware of the amperage as well as the voltage and the hertz, the frequency of the actual electrical wavelength. In South Africa, we work on a 50 hertz. Just as an example, and obviously 220 volt for your normal residential applications, and 380 volt three-phase for your commercial factory type of applications. Also, like I said, the other symbols and names would be capital V for volt, and hertz is a small h, capital Z. Okay, the historical origin or justification. I think that makes a lot more sense as opposed to trying to read the formal definitions. Only scientists would probably understand or pretend they understand. The original international ampere was defined electrochemically as the current required to deposit 1.118 milligrams of silver per second from a solution of silver nitrate. Compared to the SI ampere, the difference is 0.015%. So at least it makes some more sense as opposed to the formal definition with 10 minus 7 Newton meters per square length, and I don't know all the other fantastic scientific names and explanations to that. But however, just bear in mind that electrical current is immeasurable. Okay, thermodynamic temperature. Symbol is a capital K, the name is Kelvin. The Celsius scale, the Kelvin scale uses the degrees Celsius. Sorry, I'm on the very last column. The Kelvin scale uses the degrees Celsius for its unit increment, but is a thermodynamic scale. 0 Kelvin is absolute zero in terms of Celsius or centigrade. Okay. The mole is the amount of a substance. That's your measurable. The symbol is small lowercase mol. The very last column is the atomic weight of molecular weight divided by the molar mass constant. You would probably see a lot of these mole measurements or amount of substance measurements for your complete solutions and so forth, where the scientists prescribe that you need to dilute 1 gram per millimole or per mole and so forth. It's not really applicable in our industry in terms of plumbing installations and or manufacturing. Okay, then there's the luminous intensity, which the name is candela and the symbol is CD. The candle power, which is based on the light emitted from a burning candle of standard properties. Normally, we would also see that the luminous intensity in South Africa might be more commonly known as the lumens, emitted from lights, spotlights, and so forth. Okay, the international SI units, what international SI units do we get, and the symbols used. This is going a little bit more into detail in terms of the SI units, the expansion of SI units, as you can see in the column on your right hand side where it says SI prefixes. your names, the teras and the megas and the hectos and so forth. Those are basically the mathematical symbol. 10 to the power of 3 is kilo and so forth. The the other SI units in terms of the frequencies. And so, sorry, my humble apologies. I see that on the frequencies, hertz is a capital H, small z, and not a small z, capital H. So yes, that frequency is applicable to you measuring your electrical currents. As you can see on the other electrical current measurements on the column bottom left, there's the volts and the ohms and the degrees Celsius or degrees centigrade and so forth. Okay. And you'll see this is just for those of you who couldn't see too clearly on the previous slide. This is just a little bit clearer in terms of the abbreviations and what exactly is the mathematical meaning if you get a figure of 10 to the power of 3 or 10 to the power of minus 12 and so forth. You can see it's the gigas and the megas and the kilos. In terms of volume metrics, measuring flow rates and so forth, it would probably not necessarily be in the gigas. It would probably be more in terms of the centis, the millis, and the decis, and maybe the kilos for your very long articulations. But yeah, maybe just take note of the millis, centis, and decis. Just excuse me for 1 second. Sorry about that. A little bit of a scratch in my throat. Okay, let's try and carry on. Okay, the SI units we use in South Africa, and all of these might be a heck of a lot more recognizable to all of you and myself included, as opposed to the Kelvins and the Candelas and the moles and so forth. In the plumbing industry, we would have a look at the kilopascal, kPa, abbreviation. B for bar. In South Africa, we would not necessarily work on bar specifically. However, a lot of gauges and calibrations are still done in bar. A lot of the grower specifications are recommended in terms of system pressures or flow pressures in terms of bar. We'll show you how to quickly convert it. You guys can also obviously have a look on your Android or I don't know if an iPhone, but that iPhone, Apple Play Store or whatever. There's a lot of unit conversion applications that you can download that makes life a heck of a lot easier as opposed to trying to do maths. You just type it in, select what you want to convert, if it's under pressure or length or mass or volumes and so forth, and it will do the calculations itself. In terms of the actual length, it's South Africa, it's meters, indicated by small m, millimeter indicated by double small m, seconds in terms of time is small s, meters per second, m/s, kilometers per hour, km/h, Celsius or degrees centigrade, have that little circle and a capital C, kilogram in terms of mass, small k, small g.
Sorry, Eugene, can you just go back a slide there for us?
Of course.
Another one. Okay, guys, if we have a look at that, I just want to bring it to your attention. The base SI units is, as you see there at the top left. Okay, those are the very based ones. The ones lower left are derived units. So what Eugene has now been talking about, for instance, is kilopascal. That's a derived one. Or meters per second. That is a meter, as we see up the top, times the second. So it's a derived one. So even if it's a SI unit that we currently use, we need to remember what the base SI units are to be able to calculate your derived units.
Okay, awesome. Okay, converting mathematically, okay, slides uploaded fully, converting your SI units mathematically, kilopascal to bar. Remember, this is your pressure measurements, the SI unit pressure measurements. 1 kilopascal equals 0.01 bar. The conversion factor is therefore 0.01. So the ratio between that kilopascal to bar is 1 to 100. So if you guys have a look at, if you have, for instance, typical South African installations, your mains fed municipal pressure is 400 or 500 or 600 kPa, you would do your calculation and then you will get to bar. You're going to send out or do a little bit of it's named a poll, but in essence it's not really a poll, it's more like to see if you fully understand this wonderful mathematical calculation. It's not a test, it's just a comprehension type of thingy, and it's literally one question. So we're just going to quickly continue with that. Please don't go anywhere. Okay, if you can maybe just select on that poll to open it. If you guys could just give an indication if you cannot get access to it or don't understand fully, then we can see if we can be of any assistance. There is only one answer.
So far we've had 63% have voted.
63% of participants have voted so far. Okay, guys, we can give you 10 more seconds. 5 seconds. Okay.
We only had 76% of the people voted, so let's encourage more people to get involved next time.
Okay. There's only been a couple of people that actually participated in the poll and actually did go through the poll. So if you did your calculation correctly, you would have come to an answer of 2. Okay. Moving on. Moving on to the next one, from meters to millimeter. The conversion, as you can see on the screen there, is basically done exactly in the same manner as opposed to the kilopascal to bar type of thing. From meters to kilometers, you would divide by 1,000. Okay, so we've got another little poll for you guys, just to see if you understand. For those of you who have actually downloaded one of these unit converting applications and so forth, you're more than welcome to use it. Okay, we're going to install or submit the poll now for you guys.
Guys, don't send us the answer in the text box. Just click the correct answer on your screen, please.
Okay, I can give you another 5 seconds.
Guys, if you really want to know whether you understand it, please fill in the poll. As Eugene said, it's not an exam, but we need to understand that you understand. So far, we've only had 76% of the people here that have engaged. So please answer them.
Okay. I think we call that a wrap up for that poll. For the conversion. Guys, if you did your calculations correctly, you would have come to an answer of 200,000. I would definitely, especially for the specifications people, and the other people might be in designing pipeware, pipe reticulation, pipe sizing, and so forth. I would definitely recommend that you download one of those apps from the Apple store or something, or alternatively from your Android device.
Before we carry on, maybe we can just go through it again with the guys. If you're looking at the chart on your screen there, we said convert from kilometers to centimeters. So to take it from 2 kilometers to a meter, first of all, you times it by 1,000. So 2 kilometers would be 2,000 meters. But now we need to change that back to centimeters still, so we times it by an extra 100. So 2,000 times 100 would be 200,000 centimeters. So you've got to make sure you follow that loop so that you know exactly how many to times it by there.
Guys, same story applies if you can do your SI conversions from seconds to minutes. There's a lot of these flow charts in terms of especially your cisterns, flush valves, concealed cisterns, and so forth, that and your metering valves that people ask what is the flow rate per minute or per second or whatever the case might be. If we as let's call it Cobra for the sake of the argument, have done in-house R&D test, and we have done it in terms of minutes, but your architect or designer insists he wants it in seconds, and they don't want to do the conversion themselves, then at least you can do it. In terms of converting it to seconds, there you can see exactly how it goes from seconds to minutes, minutes to hours. There's 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour. So yes, you can do the type of calculations yourselves. Remember what we said, we will not necessarily expect of you to absolutely get it right in terms of remembering hectare, picto, picanto, and mega, and tetra, and all those wonderful type of mathematical formulas. But yes, we unfortunately have another poll for you guys. So we're going to launch that poll now.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're sitting on 43%, 46% have voted. So let's get going, do those calculations, and let us know what your answers are. Peoples, let your fingers do the walking. We're sitting on 83, 86%. You're almost there. Let's hear from you guys.
Okay. I believe I managed to mute myself. So yes, my 16th of December will be cancelled as well. I don't know if you got that. We have managed to arrange for those of you who actually got all three answers at this stage correct. The first answer being 2, second answer 200,000. The very last answer was 0.45. For the ones of you that got all three answers correct, we have arranged with HR that you will be getting off the whole day on the 16th of December. So it's only a pleasure, but let us continue with your SI unit conversions. Meters per second to kilometers per hour. Later on in the training, we will start discussing your flow rates and friction losses and so forth. There's a couple of very interesting charts in there. I'm not going to spoil it at this stage, but those charts are normally in meters per second or meters per meter, and there's a couple of interesting conversions that you can do or should do. And yes, at the end of the day, we end up with an understandable, measurable SI unit. Converting your meters to meters per second to kilometers per hour, it is meters per second is times 60 times 60, or just times 3,600. Then you have meters per hour, and then you divide that by 1,000 to get you kilometers. Remember, there's 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer and 60 minutes in 1 hour. That's why you would see that there's the 60s and the thousands that do come up. Ladies and gents, unfortunately for you, we do have one last poll just to see if you fully comprehend the conversions from meters per second to kilometers per hour, or vice versa. Good luck.
Okay, ladies and gents, we're sitting on 71% voted so far, so let those fingers do the walking.
Okay, guys and girls, on this conversion meters to second to kilometers per hour, if you came to the answer of 3,000, you would have been correct. Okay, so for those of you at this stage standing on a full score, 200,000, 0.45 and 3,000, we have now managed to arrange with HR that you will get the 16th of December, the 25th, the 26th of December 2017, as well as the 1st of January, that you can have those days off. It's only a pleasure. We absolutely aim to please. Okay. From my side, ladies and gents, thank you so very much for your participation and interest. I am putting up our contact details for those of you who do not have our contact details as yet. Once again, I would definitely suggest that you do download one of those SI unit or unit conversions, or beg your pardon, converters on the iPhone App Store, the Apple phone store thing, as well as your Android devices, the Google Play Store, and then play around with it. Have an awesome Tuesday, and we'll speak again tomorrow, and we'll speak again on Thursday. Take care.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention here. Do we have any questions? I think I've covered most of the questions that the guys threw at us in the background already. If you can just let us quickly know if you've got any more questions on the text box. Okay, Corey, Eugene just asked, do we need to repeat that number, or have you remembered it now? Okay, they have asked, can we explain how we got to the answers for those that got the answers wrong? Okay, maybe we can go back quickly. If we have a look at, if we just go back to the conversion one there, back some more, oh, that one, yeah, no, that one. Okay, if you guys have a look at 200 kilopascal to 2 bar, that one there wasn't a physical conversion. Remember we said that 100 kPa equals to 1 bar. Okay, so 1 kPa is equal to 0.01 bar. So if we said 200 kPa times by 0.01, which would come to 2 bar then. So 100 kPa equals 2 bar. If we then go for the kilometers to centimeters, you will remember that we said that the standard SI unit is meters. So kilo, if we just go to the next slide there, Eugene. Next one. Okay. Diana, wat die 10 to the power of. Okay, there we go. So a kilo is 10 to the power of 3. So basically 1,000. So 2 kilometers would be how many meters? It would be 2,000 meters. Okay, so now we've got 2,000 of the standard base SI units, which is meters. From meters to centi, so if we have a look what centi is, is 10 to the power of minus 2. So it's times another 100. Okay, so it's 2,000 times 100, which would bring us to 200,000 centimeters. Okay, if we then go to the meters to hectometers, so there we are already in the base SI units. Hectometer, if we just have a look and see where hecto is. Okay, hecto is 10 to the power of 2, but remember now that you aren't going to be going to a smaller unit, so that final answer is not going to go bigger. So we're not going to times, we have to divide, because a hectometer is smaller, is bigger than a meter. So you're going to divide by 100 instead of timesing by 100. So if you go 45 meters divided by the 100 gives you 0.45 meters. Then if we take it again, 3 kiloliters to liters, liters being the base SI unit, kilo being 1,000. So a kilo is bigger than a liter, so you'd have to times it by 1,000, which would then give you your 3,000 liters there. Are there any other questions there? I've got a question here of whether this training will be available on the Dropbox. At the moment, we haven't put any of this on the Dropbox, but in your downloads, if you go to the Materials tab on your little dashboard, the whole presentation is there in PDF format. Well, for all training, we attach a copy of the training in PDF form. You can actually download it before the time so that you can actually use it to make notes. Okay. Any other questions, ladies and gents, before we close the session? Okay, great stuff. I don't see any more questions here. As Eugene said, you guys have got our email addresses and telephone numbers. So by all means, if we need to go through something with you again, let us know and we will contact you.